Welcome everyone to See You Next Tuesday. We thought we would start our podcast by interviewing each other, just so that you actually get to meet us as our actual authentic selves, not as you are probably preperceived as knowing us, or probably don't know a lot about us actually, to be fair. So this week it's my turn to interview Lucy. So, hi Lucy.
Hi.
How are you feeling? Nervous about this?
Nervous, I'm cuddling my pillow. Ready to go.
First thing I did. Right, so I am going to start off with some easy questions. I'm going to start the first one with, tell me one thing that most people don't know about you.
I think most people don't know about me my inner struggle. I think everyone sees me as this really confident, I'm always doing something new, but I think people don't see the turmoil that goes on inside me, the overthinking, am I good enough, what will people think. I think that's probably something people don't know about me.
Nice. Nice. What an opener.
Inner struggle.
Yeah, what an opener. Who would you say is closest to you in your life, Lucy?
Oh my God, what are you doing to me? I would probably say Chloe, my daughter. I'd say she's probably the closest to me. I had her when I was 17 and I feel like we grew up together, and there's just some things that we've been through that have just cemented, and I can tell her everything, and we could be, I can be my authentic self with no fear of judgment.
Love that. Love that. So my next one then is, for you, is a favourite time and place that's been a moment in your life, like a changing moment in your life. Could be either a good one or a bad one. It's quite an open question.
Tough. My first instinct was what I'm going to go with is Bali. I feel like Bali for me has been in a part in my healing journey where I needed just to be, and that is the first place I've been, and there was lots of synchronicities that made me feel like I should be there. And on the second time we were there, it was probably more an explosive part of my healing journey, but there was no better place in the world that I could have that breakdown.
Right. Was there something specific you was doing at that moment?
No, not big. I was writing a book, so I was writing my book, and I thought I was okay. And it turned out that actually some things are still really raw, and some things I don't really like to admit to myself, and especially other people.
And probably another thing that most people don't know about you is that you're writing a book.
Yes.
Interesting. What keeps you up at night, Lucy?
Things to do. I am a little bit of a perfectionist, and I definitely give myself a lot to do. I'm not very quiet, so that's probably what keeps me up. It's not really, I don't really stress about money or anything like that. It's more about, okay, what have I got to do tomorrow? How am I going to achieve this? They are my main worries, really. My kids. But to be honest, do I worry about them? Not, only if there's something going on, but predominantly it's about what I'm going to do. Yeah.
So productivity and planning.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that. What was the last lie you told?
Oh, what is the last lie I told? I don't actually know. It's probably really, I'd like to say, I don't even know.
Just a fun one, that's what I was going to say. I wanted people to know that about you. I think it's really interesting. There's not a lot of people that I actually could come to that know it's the truth. be it as brutal or as life supporting or do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what it is. There's not many people I can actually hand on heart think of that I can go to ask something and know that that's the one thing you won't do.
I tell you what, I do know my last lie, and it was when I was having an argument with my partner, and he was ordering a takeaway, we was meant to be ordering it together. We decided we wanted different things, and so I said I wasn't hungry. That was my last lie. No, don't worry, I don't want it, I'm hungry. That was my last lie.
Fair enough. Yeah. For me, that word and you are never in the same scenario.
Oh,
that's like, and I thought it was asking that question that made me, because I've really thought about what I wanted to ask you. Yeah. So for me, I just thought, actually, that is not so. I wonder what her last line
I know, to be honest, I really struggled.
Yeah.
I did really struggle because we was talking earlier about being your authentic self, and I think when I found my voice, everyone had to hear it, and now it's like, okay, I've got a voice, but when do I want to say what I've got to say? Not everybody needs to hear it. I'm not here to educate people, that's not my role. You can go and educate yourself, but if people ask me, then I will tell them what I think.
Yeah, you share what your thoughts are. Love that. Right, what's my other one? What's your love language, Lucy?
Caring, I think. I care. I like to do thoughtful things. I like to make sure everyone's fed, watered. I'm not really materialistic. I'd rather someone think about what is it she needs. Like, I would be much more turned on by someone doing the washing and hanging it out than I would be by a handbag. So that's my love language. I like to look after. Care.
I like to be looked after, so if somebody was to aspire to show you love, that's how that would happen.
Yeah, that's what I would like. Like little jobs, like coming home and having a little love note that's taken 2 minutes that would be much more beneficial to me than getting a massive card that's not personalised or not personal messaging. That's probably my love language. I like that thought.
What embarrasses you the most? Or what do you find? Do you have any embarrassing, like things that make you embarrassed?
Probably, but I can't think of more. I don't know. I actually don't know what makes me embarrassed. Not a lot now. There used to be quite a lot, and it used to be predominantly about other people's views. Oh my God, I've been drunk and they must think that, or I've done this.
Beer fear.
Yeah. But then I think that's probably also my relationship with alcohol. Alcohol for me was a blockage, rather than now I'll just have drink to enjoy that moment. I don't feel I have to drink. I don't feel the need to drink. It's a totally different relationship. So I think probably, actually, maybe I could say I am embarrassed about how I used alcohol to numb.
You don't feel embarrassed about that anymore?
No, because I don't do it. I don't look back at it and feel embarrassed either, because it was a coping strategy that worked for me at that time. I didn't have the tools that I have now. And also I think my partner's really supported that education in that. He's completely stopped drinking.
Still?
Yeah.
Wow.
6 months.
Wow.
And he's really supported that growth in a way. He's inspired my growth, actually. He's not supported, he's inspired.
How great is that? Because he was like
that's
what I mean. Yeah. I didn't know him in that capacity. What's really strange for me is I only know your other half from knowing you two here. I don't actually know him outside of your house.
Yeah.
So all these things that were before, that's not the version of him I know. I only know the version of him now.
Yeah.
So for me, if things get mentioned, like we talk about things, if things get mentioned from before, I think, because that's not who I know.
Yeah.
That's absolutely not who I know.
Yeah.
Whereas with you and I, I know it all. So, right, I'm going to go a little bit deeper now. What do you feel the most proud of to now?
I feel most proud of the impact I've made with others, and I'll put that into context. I think for me, everything really has been revolved around sexual abuse. I think that was that defines me as a victim for a very, very long time, and I think I am most proudest of doing something really positive with it and supporting others to do similar, because everyone's different on their journey. But I think I wouldn't have worked in children's home and worked for the last 18 years with children in care. I wouldn't have been, made these videos that strangers have reached out to me and, disclosed. I wouldn't be out on a night out and people disclosing all this stuff to me. So I think I'm most proudest of turning myself from a victim into a survivor, into an inspirer.
Yeah, because that shocked you when you was approached by people.
So many people, especially like in one night. And what also I think...
Were they people you knew?
No.
And this was just somewhere you'd gone out for a night out?
Yeah, they knew people that I was around, but people didn't know my backstory. They didn't know me. I don't know. But everyone kept on apologising to me. I'm really sorry I've ruined your night. And what I feel I take from that is actually you haven't ruined my night. You've made me feel blessed that you trust me with like this deep personal hurt, and it doesn't impact. I feel empathy, but I take it? I can not take it with me anymore. Whereas when I first started working with young people, it used to keep me up at night. It used to stress, like, how can I save this person? And I've realised that actually, yeah, you've offloaded on me, but it's actually not my job to save you anymore. Whereas my go-to is rescue. Now it's like I can listen to that, I can hold you in that, I can hear you, I can point you in a direction. Whether you choose to take that, that's up to you, and leave it there.
And fundamentally, it is up to them.
Yeah.
But great feedback, right?
Yeah.
Great feedback for you, that you're on the right lines, that you're on the right track.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my God, yeah.
And that you're reaching those that need to be reached. And that you give them hope, I suppose, because you talk about things that you've done, even like bite-sized pieces. They're only bite-sized pieces sometimes you put out. It's enough to get people to think it's not like there is a way. There's another way that look at it from another angle.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of shame, isn't there, to do with sexual abuse. I think, well, any kind of abuse really, but I think because sexual abuse, sex is still really not in the forefront of everyone's vocabulary. We don't really talk about sex. So therefore, to take it into a child context, there's a lot of shame of people not wanting to say, oh yeah, that happened to me. And I think just what I'm trying to achieve is just chipping away at showing people that there's nothing to be ashamed of. You were a child, it happened, it was an adult that did it to you. You know, you can wear that badge and say, you know, I've survived that. And it's funny, I was speaking to a lady today about physical abuse, and I said, but do you feel like you're a victim or a survivor? And she said, I feel like I'm a victim. I said, but you're here, you're breathing, you're living, so therefore you are a survivor. Whether you want to take that role or take that role, that's down to you. But I think, you know, if you live through those traumas and you're okay in a roundabout way, you are a survivor. Because all those things are set to knock you off and not for you to cope. And if you're just coping looks like you got out of bed today and had a shower, for me that's you survived.
Yeah, nice. What stresses you?
Injustice, lies. I think for me, justice is a big thing. I've really had to try and rein some of my thoughts and feelings to others, because actually I've had to learn that that's not my thing. I can understand like a little white lie here and there, I just think when you're continually lying to people, I just grabs my shit really. I just think just own your shit and non-accountability. Oh no, I'm going into that. Not people not being accountable or held accountable by people actually.
That was one of my my other. I've got that question, to be honest with you. How do you ensure accountability, especially around progress? Then, when you say, because obviously I feel that touches on that next question. Like, how do you ensure accountability within you?
I self-reflection a lot. I do self-reflection most evenings. My example is normally to do with my partner and my reactions towards him. And owning that actually that my part in that argument, or you can't argue with yourself. I'm very aware of that, and saying and apologising and saying that I'm going to try and do better. And I think my accountability to myself is I'm a believer, only a newly believer of 1% better each day. So I've sort of started taking the stress off that I've got to be 100% better every day. And do you know what? That's 1% more than I did yesterday. So that's sort of where I'm at currently.
Mm-hmm. Okay, nice. So the 3 things. I'm just what's I gonna my other one? What was the last thing that inspired you to create, and why? Bearing in mind that you're creating quite a lot at the moment that obviously the audience doesn't know about, but you are creating quite a lot in your world at the moment.
I think the thing that inspired me was the news about the government interfering with blocking out the sun. That inspired me. It didn't, because I think if that was a few years ago, it would be like, everybody, we need to educate you, da, 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 da. But actually what made me look at it is like, why do we not all group together anymore? Why do we not think, do you know what, Mother Nature is not ours to mess with, which a lot of people do think like that, but why is it that we all do nothing? And in that, I broke that down into the conquer and divide between communities, and there is sometimes a lack of kindness. And actually, fundamentally, the little things we can do is start building back the communities, start speaking to people, having conversations. And I think there's that unbiased prejudice where we think that about a certain group, or well, if you think that, go and ask the questions, go and be curious. And then that sometimes takes away some of the bias that we sometimes not even ours. Sometimes it's like inherited or whatever. But that's the thing that inspired me last.
Nice. And what do you think you've created out of that? Do you think any of that led you to create?
I created an Instagram video, and then I created. Then I was then challenged by a friend to do 3 random acts of kindness every day, which I was doing, and then I was noting like how that made me feel, the reactions I was getting from other people. So that's sort of what it made me create in that moment.
Right.
Share with people, like, let's have a little think about what we could just do a little bit better.
Mm. Did you get much feedback from that?
Not massive amounts, but I think that was sort of my tribe anyway.
Just interaction.
On TikTok a little bit differently because it's people that I don't really know. There's some good feedback on that. I think my theory is if it helps one person or it changes one person, it's worth it. I don't need the masses. I don't need all the millions of likes. What I need to do is try and inspire people. If I don't, but if I can inspire one person, it's worth it.
Fair enough. Right, so what was the last book you read and how did it influence you?
I am reading currently expectations? Or the expectation effect. I'll have to look it up. I'll put it in a comment or something somewhere. I'm reading that currently, and it's made me think about what my expectations are, not just from others, but from food, from drinks, from painkillers, to everything. It's really made me look at what I expect from the things and what I get from things.
Were you surprised by any of them?
Yeah, loads.
Was you?
Yeah.
Were you surprised about what your expectations were?
100%, yeah. I think...
Were there negative ones?
Negative and positive. I think I think what I've learned in the last 2 years is that you expect people to know, and actually it's your job to tell. So, for example, my poor partner again.
Yeah.
I expected him to know how I wanted to be loved. I expected him to know how to respond when I was in a not good way, and I've had to tell him. And now I've told him, he does as this, but it's that sort of expectation that people understand from your perspective, but we like polar opposites, and I've had to then ask him what he needs from me.
Yeah.
And having that open, honest conversation, and it's not something I'm used to in a relationship. Friends all the time. Like, I can say to my friends, oh, we're going for a really shit time, like, can we get together, can we have a cup of tea, I need to talk. That's no problem, but in a relationship, that's new for me.
Yeah, that's new for you. And do you feel that that's, in itself, do you think that has influenced the way you conduct yourself now in a relationship? Has it changed anything you do?
Oh my God, loads. I still lose my shit. I still fly off the handle. I still can be quite petty. I can still
the honesty
use things, say things that are really quite horrible that I don't actually genuinely mean. But what we seem to have got in a really nice pattern of doing is that sort of having a breather, not like announcing it like we're having a breather. I'll normally go and sulk for 5 minutes and then revisit him. And even if something happens, say for example he was in the car, he might have stayed at his that night, we'll still revisit it and say, right, what was going on for us then? And just unpick it a little bit, because between us we've got 90 years of baggage that we're carrying into this new relationship. That's the way I see it. I'm not saying that the whole 90 years needs to be unpacked, but there are going to be parts of that are going to influence our relationship, and it's just about the communication. And I think being so authentic, showing all your airs and not so graces, is just makes the whole dynamic different.
I bet that sets you on fire, having someone you've got that dynamic with, though. Well, that's quite... I would love that. That would really get everything fired up.
Yeah.
That connection's quite profound. To find somebody that you can have that open and honestness with, not just have the conversations in your head, like they can leave your mouth, and you can actually voice them, and you can actually then come back to it and sort of explore it without sort of knowing it's going to be, this huge ordeal.
Yeah.
And in the middle you're allowed to sulk and have your 5 minutes of fuck you.
Well, that's like literally choked me up. And I think for me, that feeling of safety and being my authentic self, I won't go into what the argument was about, but it was, the words he said was, I see you and I hear you. And I think for me that was just such an emotional shift. I even hold it, I can't, every inch of me. And since then I've actually cried twice with gratitude. Like when I look at my life, and the tears just flew of happiness, where I feel like for the last probably 40 years I have been constantly in fight or flight, and I feel like I'm not anymore.
And that blows my mind, because when we was having that conversation about that, that is not what you expect to come from him.
No.
This is what I'm saying. People's understanding of him, their version of him, is not that.
No.
Is it?
No, but then I think the perceptions of of lots of people. I did a client's Botox this week. It doesn't need to be the day. And this is a person that's powerful in a really high job, and I assumed she was X, Y, and Z. She came round, had an emotional vomit, personal to her, and I was like, oh my God, I thought you were X, Y, and Z, and actually I'm completely and utterly wrong. And happy to say that, and did say that to her. But I think what I've taken from that is I'm going to be more aware of when I normally go, oh yeah, you're right, are you okay? With that like tone of like, yeah, that's everything's okay, but actually I'm generally going to start being more inquisitive when I ask if you're okay, what's going on for you, rather than, you alright, you okay, what's going on for you? Like, because I think that's what all she needed really from somebody else. I just happened to be the person that did it. But actually, that more emotional check-in rather than useless words.
Yeah, mindless. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. How do you right, so how do you decide where you grow and improve? As in bite size, Lucy. I'm not talking about overall goals, life changing. I'm talking about, bearing in mind these podcasts are week to week and the bite size is what we're working on. How do you decide, moment to moment, where to grow, where to improve? How quick can you flip that?
I don't think I do. I don't think I consciously make a decision. I think things get thrown up and then I'll look at it. I don't think necessarily I consciously make a choice.
You don't look, you go, you can literally...
I just feel like at this time, at the moment, since I got made redundant, I've just had faith. I couldn't tell you what in. I like to call it the universe, but I've just had faith that everything is working out for my greater good. Negative things happen, good things happen, but it's about what I've got to learn from that. So I feel like I don't really now. There's things I'd like to achieve,
Yeah.
but I'm not precious about it. I don't have to achieve it by... Normally I'd set myself a deadline, but at the moment I'm being quite fluid, and I think the lessons I'm coming up are just the ones I need to learn.
Yeah, I'm quite like that. I like deadlines. I think deadlines suit some people. I'm not a deadline person. You tie me down, it fails straight away. Yeah. I like to know, I call them check-ins. I'd like to be at this point, If I'm not, why am I not? What can I do? You understand me? But yeah. I'm going with the flow, but you can't explain to somebody how much work that takes.
And at work, I'm very different. So when I do a 9 to 5, which I do 2 days a week, I am deadline, and I hit the deadlines.
Yeah, same. Yeah. So, same. Do you think that's also, like, when you say, do you feel you've got a lot more faith in you than before?
Yeah, I think I trust myself, and I've learnt to trust others. I don't think I necessarily didn't trust other people, like I'm not saying that, but I'm learning that I can rely on others and I can ask for help. For me, asking for help has always been a weakness. I'll do it myself. Even this takeaway argument, I was like, fuck you, I don't need you, I'll sort myself out.
Watch me be hungry.
Yeah, like literally, yeah, like a petulant child, but that is my go-to. Fuck off, leave me alone, because if I'm on my own, nobody can hurt me. And I'm now realising that, do you know what, when I'm hurting, it's really nice to have people around where I don't need to build that barrier up anymore. And slowly, it's not, don't get me wrong, we're not there, but slowly it's coming down.
You wanted to change something in life you wanted to do?
Combination of things. It was encompassing my whole life, and I wasn't happy anymore, but that, I think, stems from everything. And then my son, he needs to go to secondary school this year. He's not going to mainstream school because that's not what will work for him, and I need to be around to support him. So it was a bit of a combination of things. A bit of a combination really.
Okay. And then this is my thought for the day, because this is the question that I thought we could leave our audience members with to give us some feedback.
Okay.
Is there anything you do, any little nuances, any little customisations to your approach of how you go about the challenges that are brought to you?
Explain what you mean.
So basically, when faced with challenges,
Yeah.
I know that I'm somebody that if I see a challenge head on, I don't even think about what's around me, who's around me. I'm really like this, and this. My solutions, as I'm hearing the challenge come across me, I've already know how that's going to end.
Yeah.
So, but my go-to is because I'm so fluid with my day. I've worked my life around challenges because my life is so full of challenges, and because I have so many wild cards within my scope of my children, my family members, if you throw something at me, I can shift, put things in place, right, and come back round. And because I don't bear any kind of there's no I don't put no pressure on myself. There's what needs to be done, what can't be done, and what's non-negotiable for my day. I work very quickly. My brain obviously and my mouth works at 100 miles an hour. I leave pockets of flexibility all day, all night. I know what days I work good. I know what days of the month I can sort of go without things. I sleep, navigate, chop and change. There are some days I can't. I just wondered if you had any, if you had any, not even tools or skills, but you just know something as silly as for me, I know I have to leave windows to work with.
Yeah, see, I
can't pack my day out.
I don't do that. Because I've worked in environments where everything changes on split seconds. Like you could be having lunch with a kid and then suddenly they're giving you a massive disclosure about sexual abuse, and that goes on for 3 hours and you was meant to go home an hour ago. I think I'm just fluid.
Yeah, like myself.
In a challenge, and nothing really phases me. I can go into crisis mode and go, oh my god. But literally, I'll pick up the phone. I know exactly who I need to phone at that given time for that given advice. I'll talk it through, and then I'll come to my own conclusion and then go away and deal with it. I think what I do better now is I stop. Rather than going, oh my god, I've got to do this straight away, I'm better at saying, right, stop a minute, have a think about it, and then go and deal with it. Because what I used to do is all guns blazing, let's go, let's have it, let's fight the world, nothing can stop me, watch this, and that stubborn determination sometimes left to pretty crappy decisions, not majorly awful, but pretty crappy decisions, words that couldn't be unsaid, because I didn't just take a minute and think. And I think also another thing I do now is think of it from others' perspective. So, for example, if it involves someone else, maybe you come to me and said, oh, I know, I'm not going to use you as an example because that wouldn't be the thing. But if someone came to me and said, oh, I'm trying to think of an explanation. Oh, I don't agree. They're having a custody battle, for example. And then they're saying, oh yeah, my wife's this, my wife's that. But I'd question that, why? What is making her behave like that? Because I always believe that there's an undercurrent behind every behaviour. What is that undercurrent? And that's where I always like to try and find out what is the reason for that behaviour. Because I don't believe in the majority, 99% of people don't behave in a negative way without there being a reason for it. I'm not saying that it's a right reason, but there's a reason, and I like to find the reason.
Okay. Yeah, so you would say that you had a phone book then that assists you. You have a list of people.
I have a really good support network.
Good.
I know that people, my other half is one of many, plenty of numbers. I don't. I like my select crew. I know that I can depend on. I know that they won't lie to me. I know that they would give me an alibi. I know that they have my back. I know that I can leave a room and I don't worry about them talking about
you, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of them probably do have a conversation about me, but it's not negative.
Not negative, yeah. Love that.
And that's all I need in life.
Yeah.
You know, those select few. So that's me. That is my phone book, my phone.
Yeah.
And people I can generally trust with information, and I know that it's not going to be used against me, and I'm not going to be judged. I think that's the most important thing in a friendship.
Yeah.
And be real.
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm being an arsehole.
Yeah.
My friends say, actually, I think you're actually being an arsehole. I have been told that quite a few times when I tell my friends about some of the arguments and they're like, Luce, you're actually being an arsehole. You're being unreasonable.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to rein it in. That's what I need to hear. I don't need people going, yeah, I agree, yeah, it's no good for me. I need that challenge, and even in counselling, I'm quite challenging in counselling. I don't go, oh yeah, okay, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Let's get to the bones of it, and I think you need those people in your life.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Okay then, well that concludes my questions for you.
Oh well, I'm quite looking forward to next week to your interviews. Thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone.
See you next Tuesday.